Let's talk about something really uncomfortable here, and that is this video I created 6 weeks ago. I hyped this simulation too much when I was on the Sim Racing Expo. And I think my excitement caught up with me when I recorded it. Now, I've been sim racing for years and have built multiple car setup stuff, and I try to help the community in the best way I can. But I think game reviews is something I want to avoid in the future, especially when they are not fully out yet. But I've also learned an important lesson with this video, and that is the assumption and assuming things are gonna be a certain way when they aren't. That's the first thing. The assumptions we make, that I made. I was assuming if an Aston Martin on Spa drives this well, it's gonna be like that with every other car. I was assuming that would be the same on every other track. I would be assuming that it was gonna happen on different computers and consoles and whatever. What a mistake I made. Now, the current stuff you hear about Project Motor Racing Online, most of these points are pretty much very valid, but I have different reasons why I will not play it at the moment. And that is because of this screen. I got so excited when I saw this, but the tweaks and changes I make over here do not influence the car enough, to my opinion. So let's say I would run a stiff anti-roll bar. I don't get the expected feeling of a stiff anti-roll bar, and when I increase a bunch of ride height, I don't get the oversteer and loss of control on the high-speed corners. Same for dropping the front ride height. These changes are barely noticeable. That is an important reason what it kills for me. Now, something else I want to point out is that the default setups, I don't like default setups to begin with. I never like default setups. Some are good and some I like, but I like to tweak it. And the possibility to tweak it is not there. So when I open up this game and I start driving and I feel some understeer, or the force feedback is not really telling me anything, or I feel weird braking behavior, my brain immediately goes, oh, we can change this in the setup, right? Instead of just jumping to another car and complain about default setup, go to the next car, complain about that default setup, and complain about the car constantly, instead of trying to fix it. Now, the possibility now for me to fix it is not possible. Then we have a massive other concern, which is even way bigger than this one. I'm VR racer, and people that know me, they know I want to do it in VR. Now, they said VR would be beginning next year with the current, how the game optimizes or is optimized at the moment. I don't know, would that be happening? Again, another assumption that we should not make. Now, I will not bend my opinion, because I think overall the driving is okay. It is a bit too easy, but there's just one thing I'd like to see tweaked to make it drivable. So that means the oversteer you feel with slow corner behavior, and the rear axle and the downshifts. So when you go off the throttle, I will show you like this, what I'm feeling through the wheel and how this car feels on this particular area, and the force feedback that I'm feeling in this GT3 car. I don't have a problem with this. My opinion is still the same. But when I enter this corner, braking into this corner, and I'm releasing the throttle, this behavior, that is something with off-throttle behavior. Now, obviously, I'm aggressive on the throttle, but same as for this corner. You can see when I'm downshifting, the car sets into a slide. So, there is something wrong with the rear axle, how you de-accelerate, and how the gear shifts influence the rear axle. Okay? But overall, when I'm on track over here, let's say this corner, and I keep touching the throttle a little bit, and this exit curve behavior, and how I'm going to do a Puhan over here. If you feel this, I think I am still pretty positive about this. But the problem is there are a lot of different cars, which I was assuming that were gonna be great, all of them. But it's just a few cars that feel well and others don't. And obviously it doesn't look that good. I thought when I was testing early access that, oh, the trees, it's probably a test version, they will patch that up with a few textures or whatever. Little did I know. So also something that I also want to point out, that as a YouTube creator, it's so simple, and I try to avoid it sometimes, but sometimes I don't, is to make a negative biased title. So it can still be a positive story, but this we are as people are drawn to negativity somehow. I believe it's even biologically like proven that like something negative is always gonna pull you into something. So you see a lot of negative stuff. Now, where do we end here? From my perspective, I think overall there is just a lot of lack in depth in the sim. And I think a lot of sim racers, real sim racers, are disappointed because there's no depth. And it's because there are so many cars, and there's especially a lot of cars, I don't think there are a lot of tracks, but with so many cars, it's gonna be hard to create some depth. So I've made a video before this with simulation focus, same as for, let's say, AC Rally. That is so narrowed, so focused. So if you have a team working on a few cars in a specific domain, yeah, there's gonna be more depth, there's gonna be more precision, and there's gonna be more flavor as well. So another concern that I have with this sim is the engine sounds. If you just drive this Chevy, then it's gonna sound awesome. But if you then switch to a lot of other different GT3 cars, all of a sudden the engine sounds are generic and the same. All cars are shouting. All cars kind of have this same resonancy or frequency that it gets really boring really fast. Although there were some cars that sounded really nice, but anyways. So, yeah, like again, overall, I think when the rear axle's problem is solved, when I got more setup tweaking to do, and I got some better graphics and maybe engine sound tweaks, I think it's okay. This game did not crash on me once. Only when I wanted to exit the game, there were some bugs or whatever. But yeah, and I think the biggest problem with every product that fails is, again, yes, the overpromise and the under-delivering. Try to do that vice versa. Try to not promise anything and absolutely over-deliver. That is how the best businesses kind of work, I think. So, yeah, I want to leave you with this. Then if you would ask me, should I buy it now? You know, I'm just excited if people try. I mean, I think people really, really underestimate how freaking hard building a simulation actually is, especially from the ground up. So yeah, but that's not an excuse for producing something that is under-delivering. And I think the true markets, the free markets, so people that pay the product and are disappointed doing their refunds, I mean, there's not a more honest way to review a game. If you don't like something, you should refund it. I mean, that's how it is. But for me, yeah, again, I already said my points why I don't play it. But yeah, so I hope that clarifies a few things. And I'll promise that I will be more careful with my opinions, because I certainly made some mistakes as well. Thanks for watching.